Order. Please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll, please.
Trustee Foley?
Here.
Trustee Madison?
Here.
Trustee Vanderpump?
Here.
Trustee Chandler? Is absent. Trustee Frymark?
Here.
Trustee Yuzia?
Here.
President Hilbert?
Here.
Treasurer McGrail?
Here.
Treasurer Woodsett? Here. Clerk Guerrero?
Approval of agenda.
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Support. Been properly moved and supported that we approve the agenda as presented. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Public comment on the agenda. Seeing none. Approval of the minutes of September 12th.
I move to accept the minutes as presented.
Support. Been moved and supported that we approve the minutes of September 12th as presented. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Consent agenda.
A motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Been moved and supported that we accept the consent agenda as presented. Questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Madison?
Yes.
Trustee Vanderpump?
Yes.
Trustee Foley?
Yes.
Trustee Yuzia?
Yes.
Trustee Frymark?
Yes.
President Hilbert?
Yes. Item A, municipal civil infraction cost sheet. Recently, in the last couple months, we've had at least two residents who have taken it upon themselves, once their water was turned off, to find a way to turn the water back on. And in one instance, they filled the stop box with gravel so that we couldn't get to it. So the DPW had to go out with the air compressor and blow out all the gravel, get manned up with face masks and everything, blow out the gravel and turn the water and put a lock on the lock box. But this is costing us money. Our civil infraction ordinance allows us to assess a $100 fine and cost. So we've been building out the fine plus the cost that it costs us in man hours and equipment to go out and do this. In a second instance, just recently, the homeowner attempted to turn the water back on and damage the box. So DPW had to go out with the backhoe, dig it up, replace it. And in the same instance, we had billed them the $100 civil infraction fine plus cost. And the worksheet that you see is the worksheet that the DPW is using to tally up the cost. Any questions on the worksheet or the procedure?
Could this, I was looking at that, I imagine it probably could, but it doesn't specify any areas where we have to hire an outside contractor to do something.
I don't think it,
We could probably add an invoice.
yeah.
Add an invoice is probably the easiest way to do it. We try to keep this as simple as possible so that we at least track it and move
Yeah.
forward.
So far, it's only been 2 instances where we've been able to handle it. Like I said, it's taken us a couple hours, especially the one with the gravel. Because we had to, like I said, we had to drag out the big compressor and, you know, you blowing out gravel out of a 6-inch tube, it's all coming back at you. And so the guys have to make sure that they, you know, have proper personal protection equipment on.
So going about it with this process, the village is being made whole from all these cases, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes, we are. We're going along at whatever hours, whether it's regular hours, overtime hours, and
Employer costs.
plus a percentage.
Mr. Rivera, I know the courts are kind of specific about fees imposed by municipalities on any offenders. Do you see a problem, any problem with this going in court?
The legal answer, no. I mean, as long as it is a fee rather than a tax, it's a penalty, as long as we can document the hourly rate, the actual cost. When you're talking on a municipal civil infraction, obviously the main thing the court is concerned about is getting compliance. So sometimes they're looking at that dollar amount as secondary compared to other issues. So that's why I say it's kind of twofold.
Item B, Clark Street update.
Good evening, Sermon Safe, Tri-County Engineering. I believe all council members have received my monthly report. Basically, we are done with the plans and specs, and we're planning to bid the project this year, but we came to learn that Semco Energy had delivered some pipe on Clark Street, and they were breaking ground within 2 weeks. And that was 3 weeks ago when we learned that. And talking to them, they said they need about 4 weeks to finish their work, and they're actually putting that gas line underneath the sidewalk. So, tried to work a schedule with them. It didn't seem anything would work within that short period of time. As we all know, the plants for asphalt and concrete will be closing November 15. So we're trying to rush this into 6 weeks of time frame. And from other jobs that we were involved with, paving contractors are extremely busy. We actually had 2 contractors who walked away from the job. And I spoke with President Dilbert and DPW and a few council members. It would not make sense to bid it this year, so we're going to delay the advertisement and bidding until November, December time for a spring construction. It just didn't make sense. Contractors will feel pressure to give us a price, and they will go at least 30-25% higher than usual. And we're not going to end up with quality work because all of their crews are busy with other sites. It's unbelievable what's going on this year. Everybody's busy. So I'll take any questions. Any councilman?
Well, when would be the earliest that they would start next year? When is it just weather dependent?
April.
April.
Weather dependent, of course, but we'll shoot for April, mid-April. As long as you give them, as much time bracket you give them, the better price you get. So we're not going to try to squeeze anything for them. We'll work with them and what would make sense. We're not going to, keep it open.
And then there's a price or a savings that would be associated with holding off compared to trying to push it through now.
Absolutely. Again, they're going to feel rushed and they're going to give you prices. Just try to get that to happen this year. They're going to assign a crew that, we don't know. And what we plan, I explained this to a couple council members, is we're going to pre-select pre-qualified contractors with MDOT, and then we're going to invite them to bid. So we're not going to have an open bid. We're going to invite about a dozen contractors. This way we know they're pre-qualified, we know their ratings with MDOT, and that process is very cumbersome with MDOT. To qualify a contractor with that, they're on the second tier of contractors. And I send a list to President Bilber from BPW for input on that, and hopefully we'll get a good contractor.
Any other questions? Any concerns about putting it out to spring? I think it's probably the right thing to do. All things considered.
Do we, actually, on that note, so I know earlier when we first started talking about Wall Street, I think it was you who mentioned that you would hope that we would kind of take off little bites, like a new project each year, give or take, different streets and whatnot to redo. Do you have another street in mind for next year at this time?
We've had some discussions, but not, we haven't narrowed it down. Just using the Pager rating. Yeah, I don't think the new trustees have a copy of that Pager rating, which rates every street in the village. And I'll get you a copy of that. And so we want to use that as our guide as to the next project, based on money that are available.
We'd, well, obviously logistically it'd probably matter to some degree since we'll be doing this project as well, but do you think we would still be shooting to do this project and another project?
Yes. Based on funding, the money that we have available, yes. And, there will be that possibility that we could also piggyback our second project with this project and maybe come in with even a better price. But we'll have to make that determination over the winter to, narrow down what's the next street we're going to do.
So Basenco is going to be working on something right now?
They are working right now.
They are working.
Yeah.
They're on Haven Ridge, and then they're going up Clark Street, and they're also going, I don't know what it is.
I know that they already tried to crash on 6 Mile. Do you know exactly what it is that Sunco is doing?
That was here intersection?
Yeah.
That was,
That was consumers, yeah, that's right.
I think they were just replacing some valves.
So if we're going to piggyback on two projects, that's a discussion we're going to have relatively soon then.
The major local street funds are healthy. And so I think taking on two and possibly the third one would not be out of question. If there are streets out there that are really in need, that's not doing, if there's still some left, but. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Stormwater project update.
Okay, I don't know if any of you have been out to the site, but since the last meeting, they paved division from the east end all the way to Olin Street. The restoration is pretty much done, other than the grass isn't growing. The storm sewer from Division to Main Street, down Main Street from Division to Elk we're probably about 100, 150 feet from Elk, and we expect that will be finished possibly tomorrow unless we have rain, otherwise it'll be finished later in the week. Then the intent is to complete the rest of the sidewalks on Division and Main. Most of the sidewalks actually are in on Division, and then the following week they would proceed with paving the last section and doing the restoration. So we're hopefully about 2.5 weeks away, but they have accomplished quite a bit in the last 30 days since our last meeting.
Questions?
So it will be done?
It looks, I won't promise, but I think it's as close as we've ever been. It's real close.
But if it's not done, then we'll have gaping holes for that.
Well, actually, there is still asphalt in that section. All the storm's going to be backfilled on Main. There's not any gaping holes. If you've been out there, it's in pretty good shape right now. But we do obviously want to get that last little piece done.
I actually haven't been back there for the last week or so. Are the cement pipes, I guess, what do you call those big cylindrical, gigantic 9-foot, 8-foot long, wide things?
Well, the pipes, there was the pipes which were 24-inch, and then there were some catch basins or manholes that were there. And pretty much, other than the last 150 feet or so, it's all installed.
I'm talking like the 8-foot wide, big 6, 7, 8 foot wide, I don't know, whatever.
Catch basins?
The catch basins or manholes, those are part of the storm sewer system, and they're, I think we have one more left to install. There were a couple that since we didn't do that very last section, we didn't end up using, but those are stored at the DPW yard for future use.
Hopefully, next couple of weeks it'll all be wrapped up and all of the excess material will be returned. The stuff that can be returned to HC will be returned and will be given credit for.
And with November 15th is the hard cutoff on that project as well?
For asphalt work, it's pretty, it's,
October 1st.
yeah, they say November 15th, but it depends on the weather, if they keep the asphalt plants open, but we should be well done before then, within the next 2 weeks. And just one point, I know you did bring it up, but on the DVM contract, they did complete the cleaning and the televising of that storm sewer system. So we'll be preparing the recommendations on that, that's part of your capital improvement program as part of the SOC grant. We'll be preparing a recommendation on what needs to be done with that also. So. Questions?
Item B, engineering RFP. I had thought, and I don't know if I just made an assumption, I thought that the committee would get back together prior to this meeting. I don't know, Trustee Pridemore, I don't know what. Guess we never did discuss it.
Yeah, we narrowed it down to 2 firms. Get that information to council, and we get 2 firms to present. So,
I'm going to take this opportunity to give my opinion. I had sent out a analysis today that I did on all the firms that had submitted. Based on the RFP that was posted. And when I started comparing apples to apples and oranges to oranges and all the things that came into play, I think one of the 2 firms was still possibly in the running, but they weren't but neither firm were the top firm. I would like to suggest that we take a strong look at Tri-County. And I say that because Tri-County's been doing some work with us that we're really satisfied with. They've been really responsive to us. They've been helpful on some issues. Their costs are in line. We've taken the opportunity to give them some work. And I think that they perform those tasks satisfactorily. It scares me to go with a large firm. It really does. Because once again, I don't want us to become just a drop in the bucket. A afterthought. The one good thing about professional contracts, they can be terminated with a 30-day notice. And I'm confident in talking with Tri-County and seeing their response and seeing their billing, that Tri-County can serve this community well. And I would like to recommend that we contract with Tri-County Engineering for our engineering services.
On the other side of the coin, when we met, we went through the specs as part of the professional committee. We compared prices, and you're right, thank you for making this up with the cost analysis. My thought was that we went with the smaller firm last time and we had some issues. With larger firms like Anderson, Eckstein, and Westrick, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, we had a local firm that was dealing with several municipalities. So they've run the full spectrum of problems that other municipalities have encountered. So they have experience. A big firm, high overhead, that's not my concern. My bottom line is what are they charging us? I don't care what they pay for their building. A company like Anderson, Eckstein is familiar with New Haven. Somewhat they were our engineers until they were terminated. But my thinking was, with a deep professional bench, subcontractor would be kept to a minimum, and that's been an issue. Again, they have multiple municipalities where they're experienced. They're located in Shelby Township. And I believe Trustee Chandler was looking at Hubble Roth. They have offices, I think, mostly in Oakland County. Just the flip side of the coin, with a larger firm comes more experience. So I would feel comfortable going with a larger firm, like you would be comfortable going with a smaller firm. It's just experience in subcontracting and being familiar with the local area. So that's the flip side of the coin.
Clarify, the professional committee is not coming back with a single recommendation?
Obviously not. I guess I made an assumption that we were going to get together and, so I guess in echoing what Trustee Primer said, we just narrowed it down to those two. But I would, have to say that when I finally got around to doing my own analysis, because at that committee meeting, I was just looking at the information that was provided by Trustee Blackmore in her analysis. And when I did my own, like I said, Tri-County was definitely in the running. And, I think Tri-County, they're quite familiar with the village, its infrastructure. While AEW, I'm sure, could do a good job. What scares me is that we're going to get some junior guy who may not have the experience. Now, he may have access to the experience eventually, but off the top, he may not have the experience that's going to be needed. And let's be real. What the activity that's going on in this community, I mean, it's not like there's multi-million dollar projects that are being undertaken, okay? Tri-County can handle it. I can't foresee in the near future any project that would be so massive that Tri-County could not handle it. And if they couldn't, you know, we have the option of subbing some of that work out. Okay, but on a day-to-day, there's issues out there that we need to address immediately. And one thing I can say about Tri-County is that my phone call is either answered immediately or it's probably returned within half an hour. And sometimes, you know, that's the kind of response that we need, okay? Because, you know, we have questions that need to be answered now. And I'm confident I'll put my reputation on the line that Tri-County can do a good job, and if in the near future I see that they're not doing a good job, I'll be the first one to come here like I did with our current firm and say we need to go in a different direction.
If I may too, one of the things that I liked with Tri-County, the email that we received regarding the attendance of the GLWA meeting. I don't know what the acronym stands for, I apologize. Oh yeah, Great Lakes Water Authority, yeah, thank you, sorry. But they attended the meeting with Lennox Township, and because of that, we were only charged for 1 hour of time. They were split equally between us and Lennox Township. So inherently, there's a cost savings with it that comes with Tri-County.
The figures on page 2, are those hourly rates?
Yeah.
Is that what those are?
There's a lot of stuff I like about Tri-County, well, other than just working with them on the safe routes to school, we've been kind of going back and forth with ideas, like you said, the response time, like lightning fast compared to any other experience I've had with our prior contractor. To your end, Trustee Craigmore's mention about do we want a big company or a small company? I want a small company. I don't think our last firm, I don't know if you consider them small. Craigmore said they were small. I would consider them relatively large. In either case, I just feel in many instances, not just engineering, that professional services provided to the village, we do get treated, through my experience, as kind of, oh, they're just in here, let's put them on the back burner. I just strongly feel that way. I can't put it into words, but through 3.5 years experience, where it seems like we don't get the attention we deserve. And I have experienced nothing but prompt attention to matters so far working with Tri-County. I want a small company. I'd rather a little guy in quotes. I mean, a fully capable little guy, but you know, in the grand scheme of things, a relatively smaller company compared to a bigger company, and know that we're going to get their full attention. So, and again, we've said it before in different meetings, but they work with Lennox Township. So you're talking about, you know, familiarity with the area. They do other communities as well, but what better experience than Lennox Township, which is right our neighboring community. So I like that. And I see on here that they don't charge for attending meetings, which hearing from a secondary source or something like that, or getting a report, is black and white different than actually having somebody right here, especially the lead engineer or whatever you want to call him.
Answer the questions.
To answer the questions, because quite honestly, they can put a report in front of me and I can have 2 weeks to read it 10 times over, and I'm still not going to make heads or tails of certain matters. I need to ask questions in plain English, and I think that's pretty useful.
One of the two firms, the partner didn't even come to the meeting last month, had a representative because he was busy checking out problems, both offices.
And, you know, like I had stated before, because, you know, I'm the one who probably had the most contact with these professionals, and I think I've shown that I'm not shy to terminate somebody. Okay, because I will not just sit back and let incompetence, you know,
Is it for a motion or?
a motion in order.
I make a motion to award Tri-County the appointment of village engineer.
To the point.
Support.
And properly moved and supported that we hire Tri-County Engineering as our new village engineer. And this will be a standard contract with 30-day termination. Any questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Mexico?
Yes.
Trustee Meisel?
Yes.
Trustee Foley?
Yes.
Trustee Lucia?
Yes.
Trustee Fryborn?
No.
President Gilbert?
Yes. Thank you. Fire Department, obsolete radio replacement. Don't have any money to give you.
What's that?
Don't have any money to give you.
No? It's a good deal. Last week I sent you guys a memo. Basically it's outlining calling prep radios for mobile or the portable radios we carry. Their lifespan is almost done. So once this radio breaks, it cannot be fixed. So Motorola has and given to the county the ability to purchase a new radio at 50% off MSRP. Along with radio, new mics, new chargers, and a free 5-year warranty. It's about $200 per radio that they threw in as well. They're giving us this deal because they're the ones doing this to us. They're the ones that are making these radios obsolete, so that's why they're going to pass this savings on to us, so if we so choose. The radios cost $40,819.20. The state of Michigan charges us $250 per radio to program them because we use their towers. So the total would be $45,819.20. Our fund balance currently is at $120,214.16. That's where we would pull the money from.
And if we don't make this purchase prior to
March 15th of 2018, it goes back up to full price.
And full price would be what?
Full price is $3,945 per radio. That's just the radio. It's not the chargers. It's not the mics or anything like that.
So $45,000 is for everything here and now.
Correct. Radios and the state mandated $250 per radio.
And so what would be full price?
$45,819.20.
No, I mean, if we were after March 15th, 2018.
$78,900. Total. Half off. Your total saving discount is right around $37,000 if we do it by March 15th. We like to be proactive here rather than reactive, so saving myself $40,000.
and these are the latest and greatest.
Correct. Latest and greatest. By Motorola.
Can I ask, like, how often has a radio that you guys work with broke for any reason that you've had something?
So back, I believe it was this past winter, actually one of them caught on fire. We were on a fire, dropped in a bank, snowbank. Sorry, it's
trash, we can't fix it. So it's just sitting on our shelf collecting dust. It's not very often, you may have one a year, maybe 1 or 2 a year. It's not very often, but like I said, eventually these are gonna start breaking. They're already, I think it worked out about 10 years old. So you know electronics and,
Is that the service life of these radios, 10 years?
yeah, that's the Motorola rep that came in, his name's Ed, he said that's about it, about 10 years.
How do I see that? Is that the one you're talking about?
See it?
It looks certainly similar to
Yeah.
The reason I ask is, and I'd have to check the serial or model numbers or whatever, but they look identical to the ones that I work with on a day-to-day basis. And as part of our policy, we're not required to have them on us. I know you have them on your belt and whatnot. And I am one of the black sheep who decides to carry mine by hand, probably because I'm so skinny that I don't want to drag it down. But being that the case, I've driven mine countless times, being the klutz that I am, and those things are built to last. I've been there 8.5 years, and I know I've had the same one since the beginning, and I believe, I don't know when we got them, but we got them years before that, so they're 10 years plus old too. But you said we had it till March.
That's correct. March 15th. And you are correct, they are Motorola radios, they do last, or they last longer than the Tates and the Kenwoods. That's why they come at a premium cost. Like I said, we're here to try to be a little proactive in the purchase of this. The county is graciously going to make this a bulk purchase. Each individual department is going to do their own, but they're going to go in as a bulk purchase and be able to offer us this discount.
We applied for grants like FEMA's assistance for
Correct, I
firefighters.
just got the turn down letter today.
Did you?
Yep.
Mark had got, what, 51,000?
And Sterling, I've got $1 million. Just got it today.
But you're trying.
Oh yeah, we try every year. Every year. Next year we're going for our new air packs. They're about 9 years old. They last about 15 years. So we're going to try for that next year.
And I think the 45K is a no-brainer, but is that inclusive of taxes and?
The only thing this does not, well, we don't pay taxes. The only thing this does not include is the shipping. It couldn't give me an estimated freight cost and to get it here. I mean, I can't imagine these things don't weigh that much, so I can't imagine anything.
Have you mailed a package lately?
What's your pleasure?
Make a motion to table this until next month.
When's the order going to be,
With that,
when's the order going to be put in?
just before March 15th.
I don't think as far as you said a bulk, because there was a lot of.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think they're going to make it a bulk purchase per se. It's just that's how Motorola is viewing it in order to give us that discount.
Okay.
I table like until next month, that doesn't put it at risk of getting that? No, nothing's gonna change.
We're going to start budget review in December or something, so we have a better picture of our position financially.
He has the fund balance, so
Oh, we got it.
$120,214.16.
for the current year.
Okay. So you got the money available now?
The money's there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, the money's available now.
So why are we waiting? Make a motion that we approve. Oh, sorry.
The motion to table, did it get support? Motion failed. Motion in order.
I make a motion that we approve fire radio purchase in the amount of $45,819.20 for the New Haven Fire Department.
Probably moved and supported that we purchase the new fire department radios in the amount that was stated. Any questions on the motion?
What are we gonna do with the old ones?
So my plan is to keep some, and I'm actually gonna try to sell some. I've got, I potentially got maybe somebody that's looking at buying a couple of them, so we'll see.
Any other question on the motion?
Oh, really quick, are we gonna need additional gear for the preps, like clips or?
That's included.
That's included.
So the clip, the mic, the battery, it's got a big bank of 6 chargers, 5 or 6 chargers. We're getting 2 of those, and then 6 individual chargers. And that'll take care of it.
And a 5-year service contract?
And a 5-year warranty.
Questions? Roll, please.
Trustee Freiberg?
Yes.
Trustee Giesecke?
Yes.
Trustee Foley?
Yes.
Trustee Meisen?
Yes.
Trustee Renfro?
No.
President Colbert?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Performance roads.
Appreciate you having me here today. It's been 2 years since I've been pursuing road repairs for New Haven. I have brochures to pass out and a sample. Plus I have some of my quotes I've prepared in the past and updated them as of last month. The prices haven't changed, so we passed these down. I'd appreciate that. We're out of Mount Clemens. We've been around since '85. Initially, I worked with Marcus and DPW to quote specified road repairs and did some sample repairs throughout the city, which have held up well. Later, I worked with Fossil Khan, your designated civil engineer consulting firm as well. We make our own material, we have our own crews and equipment, so we have total project control for all the road repairs that we do. This system is special, it's proprietary, it's epoxy and aggregate that we mix together on site with 5 times the strength of concrete. One of our big projects was M5 north of 275 over 2 years ago. We put down 300 repairs in that area. They have tens of thousands of vehicles, trucks and cars going by there every day, and it's withstood, as all of our other repairs have, some of the coldest winters in Michigan record. A lot of the work that I do, 95% are for condominiums, complexes, because they have spent money to have repairs done. They have the repairs done because the citizens want certain things done. And the consulting companies that I work for, the management companies, keep coming after me time after time to have repeat business done for some of the other customers that they manage. We're an MDOT contractor, which is hard to get, and we also give a very unique 2-year warranty on workmanship and materials. I've heard comments about asphalt and concrete slowing down in November. We can put this material down anywhere from 30 degrees up to 100 degrees as long as it's dry outside. We've done some work on the Ambassador Bridge, and we've collected several times, and we also do work for industrial parking lots as well. Last year was a big month for installations because the weather was really warm. But as long as it's dry, we'll be out there putting road down. So this can save you over 80% of replacement of the concrete itself because we're just repairing the areas that are eroded or have potholes or are coming up. So I've looked at these jobs, these roads, several different times, monitored their condition. And it's not just a fill type of thing. We actually use jackhammers and forced air to take out all the bad material down to a good firm base, put in 2, 3, 4 inches of material, whatever it takes to fill that up and make it flush. So that when snow clouds come over, it's not going to be digging these up or hurting your equipment or hurting the repairs that are there. So I guess I propose next month, if possible, if they could make an action on 1 or 2 of these roads, so we could do a project for you folks, because I know you'll be very pleased. And I also know I'm going to save you a lot of money, as I have for many of my other customers. Are there any questions right now?
How does salt affect this? Because I know
It is impervious to salt, oil, antifreeze. It's a solid material. No, it does not get affected by that.
So there's no corrosion, no.
No. not at all. Concrete does have that problem, okay? This isn't as porous as concrete, but with that sample, we put two different types of aggregate for an interlocking strength, a small piece and a large piece. They're in there, that's just 50-50 mixture. They're both in there, the same color. I can do the same exact stuff for asphalt. It's in my bag. It just has a different color aggregate. It's the same exact same exact epoxy material. But we trowel it in my hand. We mix it on the truck. We have an hour working time. We hand trowel it in the flush. What you see is what you get. So when it's troweled flush, it stays flush. It doesn't shrink to keep water out of there. A lot of the cold patch stuff, water gets in there, pops it up, and the city's telling me they know it's not going to last, but it's cheap, and at least they're doing something to alleviate the problems. So like I said, it's a great system. It's working out well for us. I like the opportunity. Like I said, I've been talking to the consultants, and you people for over 2 years. And this is the same quote that I put out 2 years ago. I didn't raise my prices. And like I said, I can work in November, I can work in December, as long as it's dry weather. It will take just a little bit longer to cure. This stuff cures in 3 to 4 hours. We put, during normal temperatures like now, we put cones up, okay, I have 100 cones. And as the stuff cures, we're gonna move the cones and keep traffic moving. These are residential streets with not a lot of traffic, but we would work on one side of it at a time and not have any disruption of traffic in the neighborhoods.
You mentioned M5. Is there any other roads in Macomb County that you've had experience with?
There have been, yeah. I've done some work for Macomb MDOT. I've done some work for St. Clair Shores, Jefferson Avenue North, and but 300 patches. I'm not going to say the job was huge, but 300 patches, we had to actually blow it out, erode it out, use jackhammers or forced air, and they were smaller, but it worked out well. It's nothing wrong with St. Clair Shores, it's just concrete batches vary. The southbound lanes are perfect, the northbound lanes are not, just because the batch of concrete and where the aggregate comes from. I'm making no disparaging comments to concrete companies at all. I'm just saying sometimes there's differences in batches and you see popping and things like that, which I've seen on some of your roads over there, just in certain areas, certain weak areas, they pop up. And if we can clean it out, put this flush, it works out great. And like I said, I've had a lot of success with it. And we're out of Mount Clemens, so we can come up here and be happy to work with you folks.
So you mentioned Jefferson North. Are there any other streets? I'm just trying to think of some roads that I can.
A lot of the ones. I can send him or send you folks some places close by. Sure. I did it's a wide variety. I've done a storage area in Mount Clemens. They were very happy with that. The various alleys and things of that nature. I've done many condo areas. I've done some up and down Gratiot around 23 Mile Road. They called me back to do more work. One's Whispering Pines, 23 in Gratiot on the right-hand side. You can't miss what we do. It's right there. 23 in Gratiot is close by. And they're happy. And I did another one, close by to it. Whispering Pines is the closest one I can think of to here. Anybody can drive down there, 24 and a quarter in Gratiot, and drive around and you'll see it immediately what we did for there. We can also repair curbs, driveways, patios and things like that, sidewalk cracks or potholes, either one. Curbs are a big deal because snowplows sometimes chip those up, but I fix it with the same material and it works out great. And again, the cure time in weather like this, 3 to 4 hours. I did a sample at 30 degrees, it's been covered up now, off Main Street. All I can tell you, the next day it was cured. That's all I can tell you. How long it took? Maybe 7 to 8 hours, I don't know. But it is just as strong curing long as short. It has no difference in the properties, it just takes longer to cure.
Excuse me. But ears are starting to hurt. Marcus.
Oh, sorry.
Yes. The samples the patches that were done on Main and Manning.
Yes. Still there, still good. Yeah.
Okay, so it's still intact?
Oh, yeah. We've gone through numerous loads of cold patch and, and those.
They did a sample a year ago at Main and Manning. Because we were curious, but we had no experience with this process. And not a big area. probably 2 square feet, 3 square feet.
What is the lifespan of this product? How long is it supposed to?
It's hard to say, it depends on the traffic. But I would say that, you know, if M5 lasts for over 2.5 years, they have thousands of cars every day on that. Your roads have nowhere, and any residential roads nowhere near that much traffic. I'd say 5-6 years, so it's gonna outlast the surrounding concrete around it.
This is one of the projects that, you know, that we were going to consider, you know, second or third project, and it's, I guess I'm more concerned with this process when it comes to the concrete streets, like say in Decorah and Weathervane. Because those streets, you know, when they start to deteriorate.
Well, could we ask that the gentleman get together with our DPW supervisor and our new village engineer to take a look at the patching and present next month with their findings from all 3 sources?
That would be
So we can have an
perfect.
informed decision.
Absolutely.
What did I do with, I'll give Marcus and who else?
We have a new village engineer,
Village engineer.
so it'll be good to get information from all 3 sources. They can review the project, talk to them, talk to us about cost and efficiency.
Okay.
So if that would be all right.
What is the new village engineer's name?
He's right behind you, looking at your,
Oh, got it.
Okay.
Okay.
and you've also taken a look at, I see you've been in,
The newer area on the buses.
I knew there was some areas over there that were starting to,
There's a lot of work over there, but like I said, there's small areas go through all over the place, and
Yeah.
you know, to make the property values better, make the residents a little happier. That stuff just pops out, it just doesn't look good. And also a different color, but the bottom line is it doesn't stay in. And this is, I've seen I've seen some cities and some condo places put, you know, tar on top of stuff, it pops out less than a year they spent. They wasted $17,000 to $40,000.
Marcus
Yes.
and Sumit,
Yes, sir.
you guys get together, schedule a time and date,
Yes.
and put your heads together and come back next month with a recommendation.
For sure.
Thank you.
Attorney items. Payment of bills.
These numbers have actually been corrected. I sent out the revised email with the STE and APA law. The total for October is actually $383,753.32. September remains the same for a grand total of $433,040.54.
How many cents?
54.
And October was what again?
October was $383,753.32.
I had instructed the accountant, because we made this request more than once, about getting these bills in a timely manner. And while I will support paying these that are in, but going forward, until we not make a payment, because they don't make payment until Friday before, we won't get their attention. And Tom, I'm sure you can hear me. So and I know it's you, but it has to be approved by you.
Yeah, but there were issues getting them from the contract. But
Right.
I understand your.
Yeah. It's not you,
I understand.
but the contractor is slow to give it to you, and then you don't have sufficient time to do what you need to do before they come to us.
I agree with you 100%.
Okay. With that being said, motion in order, pay the bills.
Motion that we pay approve the payment of the bills in the amount of $433,040.54.
Second.
Been properly moved and supported that we Pay the bills in the amount of $433,040.54. Questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Morrison?
Yes.
Trustee Huckrow?
Yes.
Trustee Capoli?
Yes.
Trustee Giesecke?
Yes.
Trustee Freiberg?
Yes.
President Wilbur?
Yes. Madam Clerk?
So just again, the agenda items come 10 days before the meeting, so I can have it out in 10 minutes. The second thing, Semco Energy had sent me an email regarding the one franchise that was tabled back in February. I put it in your guys' packet to look at, because it has to be supported. Do you guys have your packet?
Yeah.
This is this franchise agreement was brought at the first of the year, and it was given to the prior attorney for review before I signed it,
Yes.
and he never returned it to me.
I think the question was because there's no money in it.
Yeah.
Like, we're not getting it.
That was
out of
the
it.
one inquiry.
So
which
he was
is-
looking at that.
Yeah,
The other
big
franchise had
difference.
And what there's some concern about maintenance on the Semco property on Main Street.
I'm sorry.
Isn't that Semco property on Main Street?
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, that he's not, they're supposed to build up a berm.
Oh, yeah, they didn't do anything there.
With Berman.
Well, they're,
Next to Mr.
Mr. Dufresne's property.
That's what he's saying they're supposed to do, but according to the supervisor, they are in compliance with what they have over there. They have to have 10 inches of gravel, and that's why their property is higher than,
Well, that's what they say, but did we ever have our engineer? Either way, the property, I visited this property, it appears to me that they're, whether they think they're in code or not, it seems like they're the cause, just by looking at the elevation, but in any case, we gotta figure out, the one question that I think everybody was wondering is, do most municipalities get something in return for this? Because we're
we did a research. Sandra?
I'm sorry, what?
The Semco franchise agreement, we only found, I think we found one community in the Thumb area. I think it was Sandusky that actually received something from Semco.
Yeah, it was in the Thumb area, I can't remember if it was Sandusky or
I think it was Sandusky.
And I did email him
Vassar.
yesterday. I haven't got a response to ask him what we.
And many others did not, like local.
No,
No, you don't.
no, so, I don't know if this is, I can revisit it and see, if I can find anybody else, but that was, I was back when we first started this, so.
Still look to.
We can raise that question. Don't know where to go, but we can raise it.
I think it would be nice to food for thought with them, with the timeline approaching for them to renew this thing, to have them take a look at their property here on Main Street, because like I said, just I'm not an engineer, but common sense, looking at their elevation of theirs and what lack of infrastructure they have in place to kind of account for the water runoff, it looks to me like it's probably causing some of them.
I think when it's all said and done, you're gonna find out that, not the issue, it's just a low, and even the house behind it. So, when you look at the grade from, the center of the road to the property in question, I mean, they're there. It's just, what do you think on this franchise? Any thoughts?
It's very common not to have any kind of royalty or anything associated with it, so I'm not surprised that research. It's actually very uncommon.
And I think what we're looking at is that we get a franchise fee from cable company. And that's the only one, I think.
Michigan, it still comes, the check written from Michigan Bell, but it's AT&T
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
When does the current franchise agreement expire?
I think we're still a few months out.
Yeah.
This copy came, I think it came from the attorney, from their attorney. Yeah, I don't know if it would be proper to have that discussion with them or.
I think if you refer it over to us to
Okay.
discuss, I can't speak to why something didn't happen in February, obviously.
So as far as the franchise fee,
Yeah.
and then we could execute, the renewal. But we'd like to have a discussion to see if there's any franchise fees that are possible. Is that what the council wishes?
Yeah. Should we make a motion?
We'll just refer to the attorney to have this discussion with, the firm that is handling this for them. The proposed ordinance, Madam Clerk, was that provided by Cisco?
Yes, it was in a packet, just like that.
I think it was provided by Dykema.
Yeah, who represents Cisco.
And that's their checklist and everything that they.
Yeah. And then
Okay, so the village attorney is going to make contact and have that conversation and get back. Yeah, we probably need to execute this next month at the latest. Oh, you have anything else?
No, sir.
You good?
Yep, thank you.
Treasurer report.
Total village assets for September were $3,543,637.18.
You've heard the report?
Make a motion to accept the treasurer's report as presented.
Second.
And moved and supported that we accept the treasurer report as presented. Any question on the motion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Unfinished business. This is audit update.
Well, unfortunately, I have no good news. I have to bring it up right in front. We asked if we could have a rough draft by now. We said that we were supposed to have it like September 14th. We didn't get it. We asked the question. And on last Friday, we received an email from the auditor stating that he had sent it to his supervisor for review, and she didn't like the results and wanted some more information from the accountant. And that's where we stand. There was information that was given to them by the accountant, and we haven't heard anything since, and that was yesterday, actually. So we're still in the state of waiting for that rough draft. So it's in review with his supervisor right now.
Just for your information, there was a couple of things that were raised. Prior to 14, Act 51 money fell under a different umbrella, Act 252. I'll give it a number. And it gave municipalities the discretion of applying that money to any road fund they chose. The current act gives you the money for either local or major. But prior to Act 51, Act 252 gave you that discretion, and somehow, some way, back in 13, 14, Act 252 money made it into the general fund. And that's one of the items that the auditor is saying, oh, it doesn't belong there, it can't go there. And this is street money. One of the other things that they were questioning was the sale of the old police vehicles and where that money landed. And one of the other things that they were questioning was the money spent on the Robert Half firm, and which was drug forfeiture money, and how that money was used to pay for a audit. So these are some questions that they're raising that the supervisor said, wanted some clarification. I'm sorry. I know you enjoy talking, so.
It's basically what you said, is what some of the questions that we've been asking too, and you want to make sure that we didn't have any major projects, obviously with major local roads too on top of that. So I'm hoping that this stuff will get taken care of this week, and then we can see a rough draft.
And nobody went to
But we
jail.
have no control over
That's
their
a-
kind
that's a
of
crime.
process, so hopefully I have an answer for you soon. Questions?
Are we having to involve Mr. Rhinesmith?
Mr. Ryan is part of it. That was his directive, was to do the audit.
So he still is engaged. Do we know like how many hours roughly he's spending on this? Or?
I haven't got an update for this month yet, for September. I think we just did this date for August.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one.
I think August, we haven't seen what the update is on this yet.
There's a max that we can pay him.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I think we agreed to
5,000.
Yeah. And so we're trying to direct that into the areas that is most needed. Okay.
I believe the last motion we made passed was that he was supposed to be doing the activities that we couldn't do.
Yeah. And that was my statement that I just made, that we're trying to direct them into the areas that is most needed and where we don't have the expertise to answer those questions.
So we're down to the supervisor asking 2 questions, right? Basically, yes. 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 And there was 2 also in the mobile park too, that they're asking questions about too, so.
Yeah, because they're under the impression that we're going to write off
They
the
want
debt that we're pursuing as a,
They want to do allowance for that, for medical accounts. And JAR is the one trying to persuade them that no, money is collectible. We don't need an allowance against our receivable. Any more questions?
item B.
The voter enablement ordinance. I've decided not to ask for action on it this time. I do intend to bring it up next month, but I did kind of look at it with a fresh set of eyes, made a couple changes based on a request suggestion from another trustee, and I thought it was a good idea. That particular change was, I believe, previously it was set at 15% of the votes that were cast at the last village election for president, the office of president would be required for an initiative petition, but only 10% were going to be needed for a referendum. And the trustee said, well, why are they different? Didn't really have a good reason for it. It's just kind of what we went off of before. And so that request was made. I thought that was a good idea, so we incorporated that. But then in doing that, and I kind of revisited it, I hadn't looked at it in a couple months, and I just kind of saw a couple other things that I thought could use some clarification and whatnot. So I hope to kind of run by a couple, maybe not even that, but a couple other changes to more so for clarification or simplification, something like the signature ballot, the signature sheets. I thought that was kind of overcomplicated. So I'd like to repitch it next month, but that being said, if there's any questions, any concerns, any suggestions from anybody on council right now, I'd like to discuss it and/or welcome you guys to shoot any suggestions or comments, concerns, complaints, whatever, in the next couple of weeks so that we can hopefully kind of fine-tune it as best as possible.
You're going to turn over a final draft to the attorney for review.
Absolutely.
You The only one concern that I had, and I'll let you know right now, village clerk designee, what is it?
It's defined in the beginning.
No, I'm just saying in general, what is a village clerk designee?
Somebody that the clerk designates. I don't have the ordinance actually pulled up, but I can look it up within moments and let you know the exact definition as set forth in the...
So we're authorizing the village clerk to appoint someone to handle elections.
For the particular sections where it says, yes.
Is that,
Village designee is defined, I'm sorry, village clerk's designee, a village employee or elected official whom the village clerk has granted permission to act on his or her behalf.
so we're creating a position?
Creating a petition. Position.
When you write
Oh, a
the
position?
ordinance?
No, somebody that's just designated for that time, for that task.
Okay. What election consolidation handled in Lennox Township by law now handles all elections, verification of signatures. I didn't see that reflected here. And I would hesitate to create a position where an elected official can designate someone to do their duties as defined in the General Village Law Act.
The issue being is that the clerk isn't here 24, it's not a 9 to 5 job. So,
But the duties-
more so it's more of a formality to make sure that things get received and processed in an orderly fashion.
Okay, what does it have to do with a referendum or an initiative, voters, petitions,
So,
handled up at Lennox Township?
right, so again, absolutely, but you're questioning like the validity or whatever. Again, it's village clerk or clerk designee, that's how it's worded across the whole time, when it is referenced, which it's not always referenced. Sometimes it just specifically does say village clerk. But in any case, it's village clerk or clerk designee. So she would have to say, I don't wish to do this, but I do entrust this person, I'm going to designate this person to be able to do that. So it's not just going to be some willy-nilly person.
So, I mean, it would be like a sworn deputy.
It would be somebody that she would normally acknowledges.
Lennox Township, if that's allowed? I mean, I'm just going to question if it's...
They would definitely clerk in the next.
They handle verification of the actual, the ballots cast. Where it's talking about the village clerk, and then that's when it actually gets to that point. But the village clerk in this particular instance would be verifying like signatures gathered just to get it to the ballot before the actual before the actual yes/no votes are cast. This is just verifying signatures brought to us.
We don't do that, Lennox does that.
But that's what this ordinance is hoping to achieve.
It's trying to override the Election Consolidation Act?
No, it's working in complement to it.
Can you contact Lennox and talk to the clerk there, make sure this is all, that New Haven can verify?
But again, this would all happen prior to it coming to their desk. But sure, yes.
Just to make sure.
I think that's one thing that we need to make sure is that we're not in conflict with the township.
Or state law. Michigan State's got a lot of election laws.
Okay.
That's something the attorney can look at right now, right?
Right now, meaning right this very second, or I'm putting it on my to-do list to get you that answer.
Yeah. Kathy's the clerk up in Lennox, right? Kathy Huddle?
No.
No, it's Luann.
Yeah.
Keep getting it flipped around.
Kathy, president.
Okay, so Luann has the rest of them, she can, too.
Any other questions?
Mine's more so a comment than a question, but just, reading over, I think my impression is that there's been a lot of time spent on this. And I definitely want to make the comment to thank Trustee Vander for putting all the work and putting this together. My personal opinion is if a group is willing or able to get the number of signatures, that they definitely need to have a serious consideration to their wants and needs. So, I appreciate it. I think that this is something in the right direction.
Any other questions, comments?
Next one. Oh, yeah.
Shouldn't have went on vacation.
No, you don't.
Yeah, And hopefully, like I said, there's a couple other things. Like I said, I want to kind of simplify the thing about the signature thing, whatever. But in any case, whatever I come up with, hopefully, and like I said, it should be 99% sure the same of what I shared previously. I'd hope to make it public to not just the council, but anybody and everybody who wants to take a look at it. Send it out, email or the PDF. To anybody who's curious, I'll make that available.
Okay. Item C.
Clearview Homes. I recently spoke with the realtor who has kind of been the glue of this whole contract and whatnot. Well, that's just it. But the realtor said that at this point in time, there is no contract. I know we made the motion last month. Last month. But just as of 2 days ago, I believe, I messaged her. She says we still don't have a signed contract, just to even begin that 60-day period. So it hasn't been signed yet, so they can't even begin their due diligence in that 60-day period.
It's been signed.
Okay.
That's my signature.
For the last couple.
Okay. Part of the problem was some bad information that they were providing. But she didn't tell you that part, did she?
Okay, so it's
They were,
the 60-day period has started now?
their 60-day period could have started last month. I mean, you know, and please speak on it.
Yeah, no, I know at the conclusion of last meeting, it was presented to the attorney's office to review. I know we had a couple of edits and we made that we were in conversations with the broker about. That has been done. I know President Dilbert has signed the agreement. I think we're in good shape as far as that goes.
But now I'm trying to make contact with their side to get their signature and have to get
So legally, the land hasn't been sold yet.
And the land won't be sold for another,
As I recall, the closing is to occur in January, if I'm not mistaken. The purchase agreement is technically, land is a special item when you try to sell it with the statute of fraud. So essentially, a purchase agreement is agreement that we will agree down the road. It's actually at that closing that we have the final.
and they have not given us their earnest money or anything, so, you know.
It's roughly in there.
You know, so you know, they gotta bring a check too. You know. So we're working on it. Code enforcement.
So we did meet, when I say we, it was like pretty much every stakeholder possible. It was Attorney McGrail, myself, Mr. Cohen, who's our building inspector, the county planner, or somebody from the county planning department, which is Jeff Schrader. It was our code enforcement officer who's here in the audience, is Mr. Benjamin. And one of your staff members, am I missing somebody? I think that was it. But anyway, we all got together and we kind of looked at a whole bunch of things. And amongst, without getting into the detail of each individual property, which I did send to people individually, if you guys were interested in that, hopefully you had a chance to look over it. There's a bunch of properties that are in violation that are pretty bad. We're not just talking a couple things laying out, but we're talking gigantic things laying out and or vehicles strewn about looking like complete garbage and whatnot. At the conclusion of that meeting, it was determined that our legal services would draft a letter and send like kind of a form letter that would be sent to each of the properties that are within, in question. And just not too long ago, that draft letter came out, but rather than send it out, they just kind of they sent it in an email saying, what would you like to do? Here's the letter. Does everything look good? And I looked at it and I was in horror because quite frankly, I thought it was way too soft and fuzzy. The majority of these properties have been in violation, blatant violation, for years. Most of them for years, if not at least various months, and have been told many times, and quite frankly, by many different multiple different code enforcement officers. We've given them long leashes, we've given them warning after warning after warning. And some of them go like one step forward, two steps back, so you'll see a little improvement 1 week, and then you come back a couple weeks later and it looks twice as bad as it looked before. Some of them just do absolutely nothing. Some of them have improved slightly, but the vast majority of them, you know, for a couple of years now have done no improvement. And quite frankly, they're eyesores. And when people who aren't from New Haven come and, you know, you ask them what they think about New Haven, these are the properties that they're talking about when they say, you know, well, it looks kind of run down. Well, you know, so we need to act on these things. We need to act on them now. We need to act on them yesterday. We need to act on them last year. Things have been kind of fallen through the cracks because we have had different changeover in personnel, not just the attorney, but also code enforcement, and you know, you got to kind of re-bring everybody up to speed and whatnot. But that meeting took place. Everybody's pretty much on the same page here and whatnot. The letter was sent out, I believe, to the entirety of council. I think you saw 2 different versions of the letter. And to my understanding, they are awaiting our approval on which letter to send out. So I don't know if we need to make a motion or not. And actually, that's part B of this option is I would hope not to have to wait an entire month to bring it to council again, just to agree what kind of form we want to send out to people. I think it's a little, we're overcomplicating matters, and in doing so, we're wasting valuable time in actually taking proper, you know, due diligence to actually get this stuff cleaned up. So number one, I hope you'd approve the letter that is sent out, which was, I don't know, 75% the same letter that they had. I kind of just deleted a couple things, put in a couple things. But it's a little more to the point, has a little more sincerity in our intent to actually follow through on what we say.
And this letter was created by you?
No, well, it was, I took whatever letter that they proposed and I took out a few sentences, put in a couple sentences, about like 75% the same.
Has it been approved by the attorney?
Our office had drafted an original letter, and I think the trustee made some edits. Our office is fine with either one of the letters that we would like to send. Obviously, we would like some direction from the board as a whole as to which one.
We certainly want to make sure that this letter that goes out does not put us in a predicament that we can't.
No, they won't. Neither one will.
Okay.
The one thing I want to point out, the one thing that that made my eyes get 10 times as big in their letter was, we want to give concerned citizens as much time as possible to get the problems or issues remedied. No, we don't. These people have been in violation for a couple of years now, and you know, whether it's no, we don't. No, we don't. So I took that out. I rephrased that. Mine says something to the effect of. Such ends, the village is open to engaging in earnest discussion with property owners who seek understanding of unique difficulties in doing so. However, continued noncompliance and lack of constructive communication efforts will not be tolerated. So, my sort of tone, and I think that's necessary at this time. But aside from that, the understanding was that as soon as these letters go out, pretty much, we're going to start sending violation notices. And there's a little more detail to that I won't get into, but I just want it to be known that we are going, the research has been done, communicated multiple times, again, different changeover and different personnel. So it's taken a lot longer than I would have liked, but it's ready. So I'm hoping that these letters will go out hopefully this week, and then hopefully violation notices will go out days later.
Mr. Benjamin.
Good evening.
How are you?
Good.
The process that we're speaking of here, sending out these letters, and then you following up with
Civil infraction notice?
civil infraction notices and whatnot. Are we good with this process, and can this process be successful if and when we end up in district or circuit court?
Well, the biggest problem we have with a lot of them is the people that are in these buildings are either renting or leasing. So you have to go after the landowner that actually owns this property. And it could be a gentleman up the road or someone else that's not even living in the community here. So you have to get the legal, who actually owns the property. And that's who you have to go after. Because it's actually their responsibility to keep the sites clean. So, and you have to have, to do a ticket, to do that, you need, information on that ticket that you may have to get from either the police department, which the sergeant said here he would get me, supply me, that I could issue the tickets. So that's the process. And as Dan says, some of these people have been in violations for years.
Sure.
And, there's a procedure, when I worked at Macomb Township, there was a procedure we did there. We did a notice, as you do here, you can either send them a letter to give them notice, and then after the second letter, a ticket was issued. So, but I hear that what happened, we had the support of the court system over there. We're anticipating that we may not have the full support of the court system down here in 2020.
That's been.
And that's if we go this civil infraction route. But we're hoping to start with all violation notices, which are handled in-house in the municipality.
Okay. Okay. And you're comfortable with this process?
Yes.
Okay. All right, then we'll get to that result. I will get in the office tomorrow and I'll read these over and I'll give them to Lori, because she has that list of the main ones that were part of the email that was sent out. And we will send them out. New business.
Yeah, I guess it could be old business, but I remember Trustee Chandler's the one who actually brought it up.
Well, we're already working on it.
Yeah, that's it. Well, can we just formally address it? So the sign that we just recently put in, direction and
We're making plans to put in a couple benches on the pathway. We don't have formal, we need to have some discussion with MDOT as to what we can put in that triangle, because we don't own that triangle. And how much of an investment that we want to put in that triangle. Is it just a few trees, flowers, or do we want to go see if we can get permission to go all out for some brick pavers and a gazebo? I don't know. Okay. But I know Parks and Rec have also talked about this, and so there's been some discussions.
Well, that's just it, and there seems to be a lot of people assuming that other people are responsible. I talked to a certain member of the Parks and Rec committee. I don't have the whole list, I don't know exactly who's on it, but I talked to one of them, and this individual, I said, would this be, wouldn't that be a good idea? Wouldn't that be something that you guys might be able to take on, is kind of putting together some plans, whether it be flowers or whatever, or benches or anything? And they said, oh no, that's handled by the building department. And I'm thinking, no. First of all, you're probably not even aware who the building department is. It's somebody who actually has 10 other hats that they wear for this village anyway. But they kind of seem to say, no, that's not our gig. Again, this is just one individual. So, but might we want to kind of formally delegate it right now, or otherwise acknowledge kind of who's going to take the reins on this? Because
I think the first thing we need to do is to find out from MDOT what they will allow.
And who's looking into that?
I'm knowing that right now, but I'm going to ask people to make that inquiry.
The other thing I was thinking about too is MDOT had that land when that was the way to make a left turn. If there was, I was gonna see if there's any way that they would either, donate that land or sell it relatively cheap to get it back to the village so that we can actually do whatever we want with it.
Because, we sought permission and received permission to put the sign up. But that's all they gave us permission for. So, and do we want to own the land? We do cut it. We maintain it, but, when you take on ownership, you also take on some other responsibilities.
There's that little creek that goes through, water can be.
And yes, right now they maintain that little stretch of creek and whatnot. So, let's have a conversation. It may have to go to the state level. So we need to have a conversation with them to see what they would allow and what kind of joint, possibly joint interest, we could have in the property. And then council, hopefully before next spring, will have a plan together as to what we want to invest in that property.
So what specifically am I asking for?
What they will allow us to erect on that triangle. Is it just, trees and plants, or can we do some brick paving? Because I don't know just how much we really want to put into it. I mean, it does need some plants around the side, something on the back side. Yeah, it does need to be spruced up, and they may be. I would assume they would be okay with that, because it doesn't, create a hazard as long as it's something that's low and maybe it doesn't block the sight lines or anything, But we need to, as in we erected the sign, they gave us permission in writing, and so we need that. But as far as the pathway, on the dollar side of the pathway, we don't need permission for that, and DPW's been instructed to work into the schedule, putting in some concrete pads so that we can sit some benches on it and fasten the benches down. And where we talked to the Department of Revenue, they need to be replaced. If they think it's a building.
Right, yeah, the building department couldn't help on that.
Okay. So, yes, we are, that's on the radar. Call from the floor.
Let me see. Don't put no plants around that sign.
Call from the floor. Oh.
Hi. I see what I have to say. Don't put no plants around that sign.
Call from the floor.
Don't pull the weeds.
Samantha, are you coming up?
Yes, if I may. I just wanted to, a second to thank each and every one of you for voting kind of. We're excited to work with you guys and be part of the village team. And I just want to reiterate something I put in our proposal. And we have what we call Wednesdays with Tri-County, with Lennox Township. It's a block of 2 hours every Wednesday that we are there, available for anybody basically at the village. Council members, residents, developers will be here physically for a couple hours. They can ask any questions, engineering related, and we'll try to walk them through the process and anything we can help with. This is at no charge to anybody.
When?
Wednesdays.
Every Wednesday?
Every
What time?
Wednesday.
What time?
Check the schedule before you.
Before I commit? Lennox has the morning part, 10 to 12, so we can do 1 to 3 if the village is okay with that. We can swap. I'm going to be here in this area, so it's pretty much flexible. Anybody can schedule a block of the meeting. Normally, it's either the clerk or the front desk. They just call me and text me or email me. I'll get it on my phone right away. They tell me there's so-and-so when I meet on so-and-so subject. And we'll be here. We'll answer any questions. We'll try to help them. And again, at no charge to anybody. Thank you.
Call from the floor. Call from the table. I have a couple things that I want to share with you. The Senior Citizen Center building, the dilapidated, no, it's old, it's tired. I'm talking to some friends of mine who are licensed contractors, and I'm trying to strong arm them into donating some labor. We want to rehab the interior of that front portion of that building. It was built in 1975. It's original wood paneling. It's musty. It's old. It, you know,
The original village hall. 75.
that's when it was built. I thought it was older than that. You know, built in 75. You know, we want to update the electrical, insulate it, make it a little more energy efficient, take down the paneling, drywall it, replace the ceiling, energy efficient lighting, doesn't have an exit sign, which probably is a violation. You know, there's a group of young seniors who have been working with the seniors, and they went in yesterday just to clean the building with pine saw and whatever, just try to take some of the mustiness out of it. We've had a shredder truck out last week, and they're coming back Friday. There's a ton of old village stuff that has been determined we don't have to retain, so we're disposing of it. One room was just literally packed with old papers and stuff. So we're getting rid of all the leftovers. There's old file cabinets that the DPW is going to dispose of. They have a scrap bin. There's a lot of interior work that I'm trying to get donated. So I don't know how successful I'm going to be, but if I have to spend some money, I will definitely bring that. But that's the intent, is to upgrade that building, the senior portion of it. And we started posting senior activities on the website. There's a calendar out there because we want to attract more seniors. Right now, we have about 10 or 12 active, and I know there's a lot more than 10 or 12 in this community. They just recently went to the movies. I think they're going to the cider mill. They're going to the Orchard Thursday. I think they're going to Westview Thursday. Yeah, these are all paid by Smart. These are bus trips paid by Smart. They're going to the movies again. They're taking me to lunch, but I think there was posted that I'm taking these seniors to lunch sometime next month. So if I'm taking them to lunch, then that means I got to foot the bill. So it's we're just trying to get the senior thing going. We're just trying to get it active, and we're hoping that more seniors will partake in the activity. I think for the first time today, I think they tried some exercise class where you sit down in the chair and exercise on the chair. And I've had some discussion with Lennox, because they have a very active senior program, and possibly doing some joint things with Lennox Township. So that's what we're working on. On another note, I have to thank Sandra. She took the initiative to contact AT&T and challenge them on some of our buildings. And as a result, our monthly AT&T bill went down about $600 a month. They were charging us long distance on every line that this village owned. And we didn't need long distance on every line. They should have just been charging us once. Yes, sir. Every now and then I encourage her to do something besides look at numbers, because I know you could probably get cross-eyed when you stare at numbers. And so she does go off and do something totally different. And on another note, Waste Management is due a 46-cent per month garbage increase effective this month that we're not passing on to the residents. Our fund balance in the garbage fund is sufficient enough that we are going to cover this increase. We can cover it easily. So we're not going to pass that 46 cents on to the residents. with that, I'm done.
Anyone know, it's too late now unfortunately, but there were emails I sent out to the integrity of council, so I guess we'll have to look at it next month. But I thought it was going to be addressed. My bad, I'm not catching it when we approved the agenda, but there were a few ordinances that were supposed to be looked at, and with hopefully we're going to pass some amendments to them. Yeah.
I do have them here, I mean, they're ready whenever, the council wants to review them.
We'll put them on the agenda for next month.
I can even give them to the clerk now, so they can.
I got that as well. I was recently appointed to be the council liaison for the planning commission at last month's meeting. The planning commission met on October 3rd. Just wanted to report that now we are a full capacity board with 7 members. As such, President Dilbert had attended the meeting and asked the planning commission to take on more responsibility, more capacity. Had asked that we take a look at the zoning ordinances within the village, try to make us more competitive, especially with neighboring communities. And we also will be looking forward to, moving forward, we'll ask for a standing agenda item to be added to the council meeting. So if there are any updates for the planning commission, that I can bring forward on a monthly basis. But otherwise, we have a
That's on the consent agenda, planning commission update.
Yeah, we just have to move.
Sure. Yeah. So there'll be a line item. But otherwise, yeah, we'll be taking a look at the zoning ordinances, and I believe there's also going to be some increased activity from our Macomb County representative as well. So just wanted to give everybody an update on that.
I attended that meeting, and I think that the current planning commission and the 7 members that are there, I told them, and I'll tell this board, I think they're going to be quite active. I did challenge them with a couple things. When it comes to ordinances, especially building and zoning, things that may be obsolete to our community that we need to take a look at, so we can knock down some of the obstacles that developers face when they come to New Haven. But any ordinance that could result in some criminal activity, they will not take a look at. But it's mainly zoning and building and stuff of that nature. I just look forward to seeing the results of the planning commission. Because I truly believe that they're going to do some very good things for us. Call from the table. Motion's in order.
Second.